thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on Bookworm.
Thanks,
Tell me a little
Manny.
bit about the film.
Oh God. I mean, it's been a long journey. I mean, it was great to sort of work with Elijah again. We're kind of buddies and we wrote the film. Toby, the writer, and I wrote the film for him. We'd been wanting to make a wilderness movie for a long, long time. I've been involved with crazy sort of cult and horror and, films for so long. It was just great it felt transgressive to play in the sort of PG family environment. So yeah, it's just it's there's a personal connection to the film, which always helps. I had that with Come to Daddy in a very darker way, but in terms of Bookworm, it was really about an emotional moment that I had of not feeling like I didn't step up in a time of crisis in front of my kids. And so we kind of, Toby and I were like, oh, let's make fun of that. Let's use Elijah as a vessel for our insecurities as parents. And so that was kind of the germ of the idea of Bookworm. But yeah, an amazing journey so far. We've connected with audiences throughout New Zealand and Australia, and then I've sort of traveled with the film to festivals offshore, and seems to play in all different countries, different languages, and so yeah, just really excited about the US and Canada release.
Yeah, and it's doing really, really well. You guys were at Fantastic Fest not so long ago, and the reviews are really good. What does that mean to you to see people really enjoying this film, especially with how personal you say the story is to you?
Yeah, I mean, they say, don't read the reviews and then, you shouldn't, the work should speak for itself and you should just, be happy and swear. My whole background is, well, I came from film marketing and exhibition and everything. So I'm right across the board on all that stuff. I can't help myself. So good and bad, I love to see the feedback across the board about the film. But yeah, dude, completely surprised and overwhelmed by the positivity of the reviews and everything. I feel like I think people are picking up that at its core, it's a really sweet-natured, good-hearted movie that's trying to say something and connect with audiences on a level that maybe they haven't connected with in terms of like those type of family films for a while, and not in a sort of preachy and talking down to the kids kind of way. So yeah, really, really happy with how it's playing so far.
Now, tell me a little bit about the dynamic between Nell and Elijah, because it's easy for us as an audience to want to love Elijah's characters, be what he is, and with Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, that franchise and everything. But I feel like because of the character that he is as a father who's trying to come back into his daughter's life after a long time, Nell's Mildred really does a good job at bringing us back. It's like, hey, this guy right here has not been in my life, and
Yeah.
no, not one magic trick is gonna help help uh, win me over. And I really like the dynamic between the two. Can you talk a little bit about the chemistry?
Yeah, I mean that was the whole part of creating that character, I guess, in terms of a washed up illusionist, there's so much sort of ick factor anyway from audiences from that kind of Chris Angel leftover a faded star kind of vibe. And then, the huge guilt and the sort of emotional broken human that he is, it's just right for someone to weaponize that guilt that they have and throw it back at him and to put it in the hands of a really serviceable 11-year-old like Mildred. It just, the comedy just seemed really inherently like easy flowing, right? But it's kind of like that's the setup, and then where do you go from there? So it was kind of like, yeah, it was fun working out the dynamics of how it can play out. At its core, it's kind of like this weird sort of buddy movie. And then the emotional stakes kind of like become more apparent as you go on this journey as external pressures start building up. And so, yeah, just we felt like once you strip away the artifice of his character, then the sort of hopefully that sort of a bit more human emotional connection with the audience will reveal itself. And yeah, it seems to for audiences.
Yeah, you really gave Elijah and Nell a lot of time to really develop that and to take us through that journey and to appreciate it more as far as what they end up building through the film. Um, Tell me about working with Nell Fisher, because I
Yeah.
talked to her the other day.
Oh, you
She was so
did?
easy to talk to. And I think she has a really, really bright future ahead of her as far as acting. I mean, she's already been in a few other projects as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's okay. She's in the new Stranger Things. So, yeah, no, Nell was someone that was a gift, for the production. She obviously was held it all together. Was going to live or die on whatever actor stepped up to that role. To be honest, it could have gone horribly wrong with the wrong actor in that role. And so I just, yeah, I could, after talking to her straight away, I knew like, we've got a little Mildred here anyway. She was only 11, but absolutely super confident and capable, well prepped. She just came with so much already organized in terms of like understanding the character and because we gave her some really flowery adult language to get her chops around, man, and that's hard for established adult actors, and she just smashed it. She knew the script backward and forward, and was confident enough to point out things to me that she felt would maybe there was grammatical errors or like she was a complete bookworm. Just and a joy to work with, positive the whole time because it's tiring, man. Making films is hard. It's not just all hanging out in your Winnebagos. We had none of that action. Poor old Mildred. Poor old Nell. I mean, we had to put her into these little cabins in these remote areas so she could get to set as fast as possible because we had limited hours because she was only 11. Um, but professionally, she felt like a 40-year-old, man. She was, yeah, she's got whatever that X thing is they talk about. She's got that in spades. And I predict a big, big future for old Nell Fisher, which I'm
Yeah,
sure many others do.
yeah. There was no picnic because she did tell me about you had to drop her and Elijah off on a helicopter. So I do realize that you're trying to make this wilderness movie. She also mentioned a bucket, which we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
necessarily like too much about. But
The
uh,
fun bucket. Yeah.
tell me a little bit about the filming process because it couldn't have been easy and on and
Mm.
with some of your
No.
locations and that you picked out to make the movie.
Yeah, Manny, I had like this, a dream version in my head of how luxurious it was going to be shooting in like some sort of out of Africa experience. But no, this was hardcore New Zealand, 4 seasons in a day, very isolated areas, logistics of getting heavy, heavy gear into these locations. It all sort of weighed down on the company. But yeah, but it also because we all went through that together, the bonding and camaraderie that happens because you feel like you go through a bit of a battle, really makes the experience something truly that you treasure, you all treasure. So yeah, at its heart, it was extraordinary. We knew it. I prepped a lot with the DP. Like he came down super early, and we spent a lot of time just traveling around all those areas and just having the cherry pick of the best locations, the one that we areas that we were allowed to shoot in. Um, it was kind of glorious, and I felt spoiled for the amount of just beautiful locations that we had access to. And then to top it off, that whole helicopter day where we just blitzed around and just landed on various areas, remote areas that we wanted to shoot was, yeah, I felt very privileged to be able to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a fun experience. And now when it's all said and done, being that this film and the story was so personal to you, what does it mean to you now, especially getting to watch it all back and getting to reflect maybe on some of the struggles that you made the story for yourself in a kind of a therapeutic way. I really like the way filmmakers a lot of time put a lot
Mm.
of personal notes in their films.
Yeah, I mean, this was really personal. So it kind of like I went through that whole. You go through. There's a period in the edit where yeah, you lose perspective completely. Like I felt like I was like, to be honest, I went to a real dark place in this film. I had no idea what I had made or what we had all made. And I was a bit lost until the first sort of test screening where it came back super positive, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so we do have something. It was just a weird thing because I think emotionally I put invested so much of like what I really had in my head, and it was because it mined my nostalgia and, you know, those sort of heavy feelings. You put a lot of internal pressure on yourself to make sure you deliver something kind of special. So it's just been rewarding to see it connect with people. And you can't ask for any more. And just had a, you know, we had the A team on this one, man. They just, everyone stepped up, and I think they believed in the story, believed in the heart of the movie. And it really showed in terms of, like, you know, the execution from everyone involved was just top tier.
Well, I believe it was a very heartwarming film, and as a parent, I also appreciate kind of the notes of making sure that I'm spending enough time with my daughter, because it's something that in my profession, because I'm always on a show, I'm always doing something else. Sometimes it does, I do start to wonder and think of things like that. So balance, finding good balance, and I think that hopefully that's something that Strawn learns by the end of it as well. So
Yeah.
um, thank you so much, Anne, for a few minutes of your time. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed Bookworm as other people are enjoying it as well. So thank you for a few minutes
Manny,
of that.
I love talking to you, man. Thanks so much for taking some time.
I appreciate you so much. Thanks. It was nice to virtually meet you, and we'll chat on the next one.
Absolutely, buddy.